everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the viral chili crisp fried egg sandwich, so let's get started with the video. We're going to begin by preparing the ingredients. First, slice 1 tomato. Then cut an avocado into slices. When you're finished, set these ingredients to the side until you're ready to use them later. Next, in a large pan over medium heat, add bacon. Cook the bacon in the pan until crispy. Once the bacon is cooked and crispy, take it out of the pan and place it on a paper towel covered plate. In that same pan, spoon 1 tablespoon of chili crisp into the pan. Repeat 2 more times so you have 3 spoonfuls spaced out in the pan. Then crack 1 egg directly over each chili crisp spot. Then let the eggs fry. Once the eggs are done cooking on one side, flip them over. Continue to cook the eggs until they are cooked to your preferred doneness. Once the eggs have finished cooking, remove them from the pan and set them to the side. Next, we're going to toast the bread. In a pan over medium heat, add 2 tablespoons of butter. Once the butter is melted, add 2 slices of croissant bread. Toast the slices of bread until golden brown on each side. When you finish toasting the croissant bread, place them on a cutting board. Then spread mayo on each slice of bread. Next, on the bottom slice of bread, add lettuce. Then add 3 slices of tomato. Season the tomato with salt and pepper. Next, add the bacon. Then add the fried eggs. After you've added the eggs, add the sliced avocado. And finally, add some more chili crisp on top. Now place the other slice of croissant bread on top. And that's it, you are all done. And this is the finished result. The sandwich came out amazing. It looks like a sandwich from Scooby-Doo. This has to be the best breakfast sandwich I have ever made. It is so delicious. It's incredibly easy to make and it tastes really good. I definitely recommend giving this recipe a try. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make these fluffy blueberry pancakes with homemade blueberry syrup, so let's get started with the video. We're going to begin by making the blueberry syrup. In a saucepan over medium heat, add 2 cups of blueberries, 1.5 cups of water, and 1 cup of sugar. Then stir occasionally until the sugar has dissolved. Once the sugar has dissolved, bring it to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer. Let the syrup continue to simmer for 15 minutes. If the syrup isn't as thick as you'd like, add a cornstarch slurry while it's still cooking. A cornstarch slurry is basically 1 part cornstarch and 2 parts water, or to be more specific, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water mixed together. Once you've added and mixed in the cornstarch slurry, the syrup should start to become thicker as it continues to cook. Once your syrup has finished cooking, add 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Then take the syrup off the heat and let it cool. Once the syrup has cooled, pour it into a blender. Then blend the syrup for about a minute or until smooth. When you're finished, pour the syrup through a strainer. Then pour the blueberry syrup in a container and then place it in the fridge until you're ready to use it. Now that we've finished making the blueberry syrup, we can move on and make the blueberry pancakes. In a bowl, sift 2 cups of flour, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, and 1.25 teaspoon of salt. Once you have finished preparing your dry ingredients, set them to the side. Next, in a bowl, add 2.5 cups of buttermilk, 2 eggs, and 3 tablespoons of melted butter. Then mix everything together until well combined. Once you have finished preparing your wet ingredients, set them to the side. Next, take your dry ingredients and create a well in the center. Then pour the wet ingredients into the center of the well. Now fold your wet ingredients and dry ingredients together. Make sure not to overmix the batter. When you overmix the batter, your pancake becomes dense and chewy. By the way, the reason I'm folding the batter instead of whisking it is because it makes the pancake thick and fluffy. And remember, do not overmix. Don't mix until the batter is completely smooth. It should be lumpy and look like this. Once you have finished making the batter, you can begin cooking your pancakes. In a large pan over medium-low heat, add a bit of oil or butter. Then add 1/3 cup of pancake batter into the pan. Spread the pancake batter out a bit and form a circle. Then add the blueberries. You can add as many as you want. This is optional, but I like to add a bit of pancake batter on top of the blueberries. Once bubbles start to form and the other side of your pancake is golden brown, flip it. Cook your pancake until the other side is golden brown as well, and then take it out of the pan. Repeat this process with the rest of your pancakes. By the way, the reason I didn't fold the blueberries into my batter and then cook the pancakes is because I like to control how many blueberries are in my pancake and where they are. Once you have finished making your pancakes, you can go ahead and plate them up. When I was plating my pancakes, I spread butter on each pancake. I added some strawberries and blueberries. And a bit of whipped cream on top. And this is the finished result. Don't forget to pour the homemade blueberry syrup on top and enjoy! The pancakes were thick, fluffy, and delicious. I absolutely love blueberry pancakes and I use this recipe all the time. It's super easy and the blueberry syrup tastes so good with it. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make delicious oxtail and grits, so let's get started with the video. We're going to begin by preparing our ingredients. First, dice 1 onion. Then dice 1 red bell pepper. And 1 green bell pepper. Next, chop up some green onions. Then mince 3 garlic cloves. And finally dice or chop 1 Scotch bonnet pepper. Once you finish preparing your ingredients, set them to the side. Now we're going to clean 4 pounds of oxtails. I got my oxtails from Costco. Place the oxtails in a large bowl in the sink. Then thoroughly rinse them with cold water until the water is almost completely clear. Once the water is almost clear, fill the bowl with cold water, then add white vinegar and the juice from 2 limes. Next, use the limes to scrub the oxtails. Rinse the oxtails a few more times and then let the oxtails soak in the limes and vinegar for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Once you finish cleaning the oxtails, pat them dry and place them in another bowl. Now we're going to season the oxtails. First, add 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of pepper, 1 tablespoon of allspice, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 cup of diced bell peppers, a 1/2 cup of diced onions, a 1/2 cup of green onions, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 diced or chopped Scotch bonnet pepper, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of browning, and around 7 to 8 sprigs of thyme. Mix everything together until the oxtails are completely coated. When you're finished, cover the bowl in plastic wrap and then place the oxtails in the fridge to marinate overnight. After marinating the oxtails overnight, we can go ahead and sear them. In a large pot over medium heat, add 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil or olive oil, then add 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar. Mix the sugar and oil together until the sugar caramelizes into a light brown color. Remove the oxtails from the marinade and place them in the pot, then sear them on each side. Make sure you sear the oxtails in batches so you don't overcrowd the pot. Once you finish searing the oxtails, remove them from the pot and set them to the side. Then repeat this process with your remaining oxtails. Once you have finished searing your oxtails, use the remaining marinade to deglaze the bottom of the pot. Next, place the seared oxtails back into the pot. Then add enough beef broth or water to cover the oxtails. Next, bring the mixture to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer. Then cover the pot with the lid and let the oxtails cook for 2 to 3 hours. After an hour or an hour and a half, make sure to check on your oxtails. Stir them around in the pot, and then if a lot of liquid has reduced, add enough hot beef broth or water to cover the oxtails. You'll know the oxtails are finished cooking once the meat easily falls off the bone. Now that your oxtails have finished cooking, skim the oil from the top. Then remove the oxtails from the pot. Once you remove the oxtails from the pot, mix in 2 to 3 tablespoons of ketchup. Next, bring the gravy to a boil, then reduce it to a simmer and continue to cook it until it becomes thick. Once you finish making your gravy, take it off the heat and set it to the side. Next, remove the meat from the oxtails and shred it. When you're finished, set the shredded oxtail meat to the side. Now we're going to make the grits. In a large saucepan, bring 1 cup of chicken broth to a boil over medium heat. Next, add a half a cup of instant grits. Cook the grits while stirring occasionally until the liquid has been completely absorbed. This should take around 5 minutes. Next, mix in 1 cup of heavy cream. Next, mix in 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, half a cup of shredded cheddar cheese, a 1/4 teaspoon of Cajun seasoning, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Once you finish making the grits, pour them in a bowl. Next, add the shredded oxtail meat on top of the grits. Then pour some gravy on top as well. Next, garnish the oxtail and grits with green onions and parsley. And that's it, you are all finished. And this is the finished result. These oxtail and grits were so good. The oxtails were tender and delicious, and then the gravy with the grits and everything combined was just wonderful. I highly recommend trying this because it's just so delicious. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make these moist and fluffy blueberry muffins. Let's get started with the video. In a large bowl, sift 1½ cups of cake flour, 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Once you're finished preparing your dry ingredients, set them to the side. Next, we're going to prepare our blueberries. Add 1 cup of fresh, clean blueberries in a bowl. Then add 1 tablespoon of flour. Mix everything together until the blueberries are completely coated in flour. When you're finished, set your blueberries to the side. Next, in a large bowl, add 2 eggs. Beat the eggs with an electric mixer for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, your eggs should be fluffy and pale. Continue to beat your eggs while gradually adding 1 and 1 tablespoon of sugar. After you've added the sugar, continue to beat the eggs for another 3 minutes. Next, add 6 tablespoons of unsalted melted butter, 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1/3 cup of sour cream. Then mix everything together until well combined. Next, gradually mix in 1 cup of buttermilk. When you're finished, scrape the sides of the bowl. Then slowly mix in your dry ingredients. Once you've completely mixed in your dry ingredients, add your blueberries and fold them into the batter. When you have finished making your batter, set it to the side. Next, we're going to make some streusel to go on top of our blueberry muffins. In a bowl, add a half a cup of white sugar, 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon, and a 1/4 cup of cold cubed butter. Using a fork or a pastry cutter, mix everything together until coarse crumbs form. When you're finished, set your streusel to the side. Next, line a muffin tin with cupcake or muffin liners. Then fill the liner with batter 3/4 of the way. Next, add a couple of blueberries on top. After adding your blueberries, sprinkle a good amount of your streusel on each muffin as well. When you're finished, place your muffins in the oven at 425 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. Once your muffins have finished baking, place them on a wire rack to cool, and after that you are all finished. And this is the finished result! The blueberry muffins were moist, delicious, and they came out beautifully. These were quite literally the best blueberry muffins I've ever had. The recipe was inspired by a cooking TikToker I follow, however I did make my own adjustments to the recipe. She makes great food and has awesome recipes, so if you want to check her out, I'll link her TikTok in the description below. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I will be teaching you how to make a 3-cheese spinach and bacon frittata. This was absolutely delicious. I'm super excited to show you guys, so let's get started with the video. We're going to begin by preparing our ingredients. Begin by cutting 4 slices of bacon into small pieces. Then chop up a green onion and dice a tomato. After you finish with that, cut some goat cheese into small pieces. Finally, shred some fresh mozzarella cheese. Now that we're done prepping our ingredients, we can start making the frittata. In a large bowl, crack 6 eggs. Then add a half a cup of heavy cream, 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground pepper. Whisk everything together until smooth. Your egg mixture should not be thick, it should be smooth and should come off your whisk easily. In an iron skillet, melt some butter. Then add your chopped bacon. Cook your bacon over medium-high heat until it is nice and crispy. When your bacon's finished cooking, take it out of the pan. After cooking the bacon, it created a lot of bacon grease, but I removed like most of it. Now, over medium heat, add 1/4 cup of diced onions and 1/4 cup of diced peppers. Sauté the peppers and onions until translucent. Now reduce your heat to medium-low and add 3 cups of spinach. When your spinach is finished cooking, turn off your heat and then add your bacon back into the pan. After that, add your egg mixture. Stir everything together for a bit just to make sure that all your ingredients are well incorporated into the egg mixture. Alright, so now scatter your pieces of goat cheese all across the pan. Now add your shredded mozzarella cheese on top, making sure to cover the entire pan. When you're finished, place your pan in the oven at 350 degrees for 15 minutes. While that's cooking, we're going to make the avocado fan that goes on top of the frittata. Cut an avocado open and then remove the seed. With a spoon, scoop out the avocado. Cut thin slices into the avocado without actually separating it. Your avocado slices should still be connected. Notice how I'm cutting the avocado into slices, but I'm leaving a little room at the end so that the avocado slices are still connected. Then, with the same knife or a slightly wider knife, push the avocado down to the side. Remove the ends of the avocado fan and you are all finished. Now that our frittata is finished cooking, we can go ahead and add our avocado fan to the top. Then add your diced tomatoes, and your chopped green onions, and some chives. And that's it, you are all finished with your frittata. Oh my gosh, this was so good. I was actually really surprised at how good it was. I didn't really think it would be that great, but it was that great. It's even better if you have a side of sour cream or some salsa to go with it. And having it with either a side of roasted potatoes or tater tots makes the whole meal even better. Oh, and the goat cheese complements the frittata very well. It adds a unique flavor that takes the dish to another level. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hi everyone, today we'll be trying Made by Kylie's classic cinnamon roll recipe. I came across this recipe and it looks so good I just had to try it and share it with all of you, so let's get started with the video. We're going to begin by activating the yeast for the dough. In a bowl or measuring cup, add 3/4 of warm milk. To make the milk warm, place it in the microwave for 45 seconds. Next, add 1 tablespoon of sugar, then sprinkle 2½ teaspoons of dry active yeast over the milk. Mix everything together and then allow it to sit for 5 to 7 minutes until frothy and activated. While waiting for the yeast to activate, we're going to prepare the dry ingredients. In a large bowl, add 4½ cups of bread flour. Then add 1 teaspoon of salt and mix everything together until well combined. When you're finished, set the dry ingredients to the side. Once the yeast is activated, it should look like this. Now pour it into the bowl of a stand mixer. Then add 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of room temperature sour cream, 1/2 cup of softened salted butter, 2 room temperature eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and the flour mixture we prepared before. Place the dough hook attachment on your stand mixer, then mix on low speed for 1 minute until barely combined. Allow the dough to rest for 5 minutes so the flour can soak up all the liquids. Then continue to mix on medium speed for 5 to 7 minutes until the dough is elastic smooth and is pulling away from the sides of the bowl. Next, transfer the dough to a lightly greased large bowl. Cover the bowl in plastic wrap and then allow the dough to rise in a warm environment for 30 to 45 minutes. While the dough is rising, we're going to prepare the cinnamon filling. In a bowl, add 1/2 cup of softened salted butter, 1 cup of light brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then mix everything together until well combined. When you're finished, set the cinnamon filling to the side until you're ready to use it. Next, grease a 9x13 baking dish with butter. When you're finished, set it to the side until you're ready to use it. Once the dough has finished rising, remove the plastic wrap and then place the dough on a lightly floured surface. Roll the dough out into a 16x15 rectangle. Then add the cinnamon filling onto the surface of the dough and spread it out evenly, leaving a small border around the edges. Next, starting at the long end, tightly roll the dough up into a log. Now we're going to cut the cinnamon rolls. Each cinnamon roll should be 2 inches wide. I like to be super precise, so I use a ruler to measure it. When you're ready, cut the cinnamon rolls with a sharp knife. When you're finished, place the cinnamon rolls in the baking dish we prepared before. Next, cover the baking dish in plastic wrap and allow the rolls to proof for 25 to 30 minutes. Once the cinnamon rolls have proofed, remove the plastic wrap and then pour a half a cup of warm heavy cream over the rolls. Next, place the cinnamon rolls in the oven at 350 degrees for 22 to 24 minutes. While the cinnamon rolls are baking in the oven, we're going to make the cream cheese frosting. In a bowl, add 8 ounces of softened cream cheese and a 1/4 cup of softened salted butter. Then beat the cream cheese and butter together until smooth. Next, add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and gradually add 1 3/4 cup of powdered sugar. Then continue to beat everything together until well combined and smooth. When you're finished making the cream cheese frosting, set it to the side until you're ready to use it. After baking the cinnamon rolls for 22 to 24 minutes, turn the oven temperature up to 375 degrees and bake for another 5 to 7 minutes until the tops are golden and the rolls are cooked through. Once the cinnamon rolls have finished baking, allow them to rest for 10 to 15 minutes. Then spread the cream cheese frosting all over the rolls. And that's it, you're all done. And this is the finished result. These cinnamon rolls are amazing. They're super fluffy, moist, and delicious. Once again, I just want to say that I got the recipe from Made by Kylie. I'll have a link to her recipe down in the description below. I definitely recommend giving this recipe a try. It is so good. Everyone in my family enjoyed these cinnamon rolls and I will definitely be using this recipe again. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the viral crab dip bagel, so let's get started with the video. First, we're going to cook some snow crab legs. In a pot filled with water, add 1 tablespoon of vinegar. The vinegar is going to make the crab legs easier to crack. Then bring the water to a boil and cook 2 snow crab leg clusters. Boil the snow crabs for 5 minutes. Once the snow crab has finished cooking, take it out of the pot and set it to the side. Repeat this process with the second snow crab leg cluster. When you're finished, crack the crabs open and remove the crab meat inside. We're going to use the snow crab meat as a topping for the crab dip bagels, so when you're finished, set the crab meat to the side. Next, in a large bowl, add 4 ounces of softened cream cheese, a 1/4 cup of sour cream, 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, a 1/2 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of hot sauce, 1/2 tablespoon of minced garlic, a 1/4 cup of Monterey Jack cheese, a 1/4 cup of green onions, 1/2 teaspoon of Old Bay, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Then mix everything together until well combined. Once everything is mixed together, fold in 8 ounces of lump crab meat. When you're finished, add the crab dip mixture into a Ziploc bag. Next, cut off the tip at the bottom of the Ziploc bag so you can use it as a homemade piping bag. Then set it to the side. Next, place a bagel on a cutting board. Then, using a knife, score the bagel like an X. Make sure you don't cut the bagel all the way through. Then score the bagel again. Your bagel should look like this when you're finished. Now pipe the crab dip into the cuts. Then pipe some of the crab dip at the center of the bagel as well. Repeat this process with the rest of your bagels. When you're finished, place the bagels on a baking sheet lined with tinfoil. Next, we're going to make some Cajun butter. In a small bowl, melt 2 tablespoons of butter. Then add a 1/4 teaspoon of Cajun seasoning. Mix the butter and seasonings together and then brush the butter onto the bagels. Next, add shredded sharp cheddar cheese on top of each bagel. Then sprinkle Old Bay and paprika on top of each bagel as well. When you're finished, place the bagels in the oven at 375 degrees for 10 minutes. When the bagels have finished baking in the oven, place them on a plate. Now we're going to add the toppings to the bagels. The original crab dip bagel had corn, so I just added some sauteed corn on top of each bagel. By the way, I cooked the corn by tossing it in some butter and Cajun seasoning in a skillet over medium heat for a few minutes. Next, add the snow crab meat we prepared before on top of the bagels. By the way, I tossed the snow crab meat in the leftover Cajun butter to give it a little extra flavor, and I highly suggest you do the same. It tasted so good. Finally, sprinkle some parsley and paprika on top of the bagels, and after that, you are all done. And this is the finished result. These crab dip bagels are absolutely delicious and definitely a must try. It's creamy and crabby on the inside, and the Cajun butter gives it a little kick while the corn adds a bit of sweetness. I completely understand why it went viral. The original viral crab dip bagel is from Cafe Dear Leon, and I'll have a link to their Instagram down in the description below. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make Hawaiian roll French toast, so let's get started with the video. We're going to begin by making the egg mixture. In a bowl, melt 2 tablespoons of butter. Then add 2 eggs. Next, beat the butter and eggs together until well combined. When you're finished, mix in 2/3 cup of heavy cream, 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar, a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and a dash of nutmeg. Once you finish making the mixture, set it to the side. Next, in a pan over medium heat, add butter. While the butter is melting, get some Hawaiian rolls. Then dip the Hawaiian rolls in the egg mixture for about 5 to 10 seconds on each side. When you're finished, take the Hawaiian rolls out of the egg mixture and place them in the pan. Make sure to cook the Hawaiian rolls in batches so you don't overcrowd the pan. Cook the Hawaiian rolls until golden brown on each side. Once the Hawaiian rolls have finished cooking, take them out of the pan. Repeat this process until you've cooked all of the Hawaiian rolls. When you're finished, all that's left to do is plate it up. And this is the finished result. This French toast is absolutely delicious and super easy to make. Plus, it's a great way to use any leftover Hawaiian rolls. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the viral watermelon feta salad, so let's get started with the video. We're going to begin by preparing our ingredients. First, cut half a watermelon into cubes. Next, cut half a red onion into slices. Then chop up 1 cucumber. Finally, roughly chop some fresh basil and fresh mint. Once you finish preparing the ingredients, you can begin making the salad. In a large bowl, add the watermelon you prepared before. One and a half cups of chopped cucumber, the sliced red onions you prepared before, 1 tablespoon of basil, 1 tablespoon of mint, 1 cup of crumbled feta cheese, 1/4 cup of avocado oil, 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar, the juice from 1 lime, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Now mix everything together until well combined. And that's it, you're all done. And this is the finished result. This salad is refreshing, delicious, and perfect for summer. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!